County's local television network, TSPN. And now back to Monday with Monique.
Hey, welcome back to Mondays with Monique. I'm here with Pete from StoneHouse Brewery. And Pete, welcome to the show. So wonderful to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day. I know running a restaurant is, an endless job of joy and fun. So thanks for coming over.
Yeah.
So we are going to have, what are you cooking up today? Give me the right pronunciation.
I have shrimp bruschetta.
That's right, shrimp bruschetta, especially for our Italians out there. They know how to pronounce it. Us white people have a harder time. Well, one thing that's really important to know is that your restaurant is in Rancho Murrieta. It's kind of opposite the corner of the gas station there. Right. At the main entrance to Rancho Housing Development?
Yeah.
Okay. What would you describe the type of food that you offer?
Well, I bought the restaurant about 3 years ago, and it was primarily Italian, heavy pastas, and we changed it. We've added steak, seafood, we have ribs, we do fish and chips and burgers during the day. We do steak nachos, so when you call it a bistro, you can do whatever you want. So we kind of we move in a lot of different directions, and we like to get our produce locally, and we like to serve items seasonally.
And that's what I enjoy, is a changing menu, and just keep it on long enough so I have enough time to try each and every little thing.
There you go.
So you were talking to me a little earlier about your produce supplier and your sturgeon supplier. They're local folks. Can you explain to me where they're at and what they're doing for you?
They are. Just outside of Rancho Murrieta, there's a company called Passmo Ranch, and they have a handful of different fish items, and I think they sell primarily to restaurants, but I do think they sell to the public, or they're planning on it.
Okay.
We buy sturgeon, which is the fish you get caviar from.
Yes.
And it's a lot like a swordfish, but it's has a little more moisture. But it's really a nice, firm fish, and we serve it almondine. We serve it with a pesto glaze, and it's delicious. And of course, it's within a day, it's alive, and that night we're serving it. So
amazingly fresh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we get most of our produce from a little food vendor. He has 12 acres out on Indio off Jackson Highway, which is west of Rancho Murrieta, and that's called Strut's Ranch. And he's a guy that he actually has a full-time job. He's a fertilizer salesman, but at night during the week and on weekends he sells produce like purple basil and crazy different vegetables and zucchinis, all different strains. We buy primarily our heirloom tomatoes from him, which is this massive tomato, and you cut it and it's all marbleized inside and
yummy,
gorgeous. So I'll usually stop by there daily and pick the produce and bring it in, and then I'll weigh it, and he kind of keeps track of what we're using, and he'll come in and have dinner, or, we work out a couple of different structures of the billing, so.
That's neat. It's, a friendship and a partnership in business put together. And
that's true.
That's what I love about our area, is that we're really community oriented. And Rancho Murrieta, of course, is, just basically up the street from my own, so you're really close to my house.
Okay.
And maybe you're 10 minutes from the house. I drive 60. So maybe it's 9 minutes, but it's really, really close for people to get to, right off of Highway 16. So you have outdoor seating as well.
We do.
I love that. There's just not enough of the beautiful outdoors, although it's a little warm today. That's okay. But it's really nice to enjoy lunch outside, dinner outside.
Yeah, we look kind of over the Rancho Murrieta Airport. So if you sit outside or a few tables inside, you can see planes landing, which is kind of nice. And we're right across from the Rancho Murrieta North Gates. And so most of our customers come from Rancho Murrieta, which allows them to drive their golf carts.
Yes.
So drinking and driving is not an issue.
Good.
And then we also get a lot of equestrian folks from Carol Anderson's Marietta Equestrian Center, which is right next door to us. So.
Right behind the shopping center. We've been there before with our horses, and it's nice to have such a great restaurant like yours so conveniently located.
But we would love more Amador customers.
Of course, yeah. So your wine list is to die for.
Well, thank
How
you.
do you select what you have on there?
Well, most of the wine reps represent the wineries direct, or they're the owners of the wineries, which is really nice. As you know, Amador is like Napa 50 years ago.
Right.
And before I owned a restaurant, I was a golf pro, and one of my students was Mr. and Mrs. Soban, who've been making wine out here for about 30 years. So, in fact, I was just in Alaska last week, and I was in a restaurant. I looked up, and I saw Soban Old Vines from Plymouth, and I thought, wow, that is...
What a small world,
in Anchorage,
huh?
Alaska, yeah. And so the reps will come by and we do a tasting, and they give me great customer service, and I try to support everything local. So
good, yeah, I love that too. And so tell me a couple of different wines that you have on the menu that you want to talk about.
Well, Serafina, which is probably the closest winery to us, it's just off Jackson Highway, and they have great Syrahs, Barberas, Zinfandels, Primotivos. And a great wine rep by the name of Elaine. And so we're heavy on Serafina, Soban, Old Vines, which I mentioned, Perry Creek. A friend of mine, Hadrian, supports us. We also, this wine here is actually St. Helena. It's hard to get good Chardonnays out here, although Perry Creek does make a good one. C.G. Diari, which the gentleman who owns the winery is credited for inventing the flavor of Captain Crunch.
Oh, okay. I knew he has association there. Yeah.
Hidden Valley Ranch, Power Bars, and they have a plethora of delicious wines. And a lot of the other wines, we do pull from Napa, like Waterstone Cab and Rock Hollow. I have a very good local wine rep that actually bartends for me on Saturday nights by the name of Matt, and we get our Backhouse Merlot from him, which actually I have a case in the car. I'm going to meet a customer here from Jackson and
good.
And help her out.
Good. So we kind of coordinated the trips together. Cheers. This is fabulous. Thanks for being on the show.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
You have quite a few beers on the menu too. And people are, really into beer tasting these days. But what I find most unique about your beautiful restaurant is that you have a wine bar. It's a sit-down bar. The wines, you're facing them. And from my experience, each time I've been in, the person that's bartending is very knowledgeable about wines. And I'll say, I like Chardonnay. I like it oaky and dry, not sweet.
Yeah.
And there's always something new and wonderful to try there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we do free wine tasting and beer tasting, so we can zero in on exactly what you like, and just because we like it doesn't mean you do, so we try to hone in on what...
Yeah, everybody has a little different tastes on what they enjoy. Let's talk a little bit about the menu, too.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go to commercial real quick, and then when we go back to our cooking set, we'll talk menu, and you're in for a treat. Stay with us.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.